Muslims really struggle with self-accountability. So holding ourselves accountable for actions that are not really in line with our higher spiritually actualized self. And even before self-accountability, we struggle with self-discipline. I think a lot of us aren't able to stick with things that we know are good for us, but that we might find difficult. I think we're not always great at telling ourselves no. We're not always great at delaying our self gratification, however that looks like, not just sexually. So it's something I'm thinking about a lot in terms of like why Muslims are struggling with spiritual development, with working on their soul, with healing from trauma, with, overcoming difficult experiences in their life. A lot of it has to do with this concept of holding oneself accountable and self-discipline. And I really don't think that we're taught that within our families and communities. And unfortunately, a lot of times self-accountability and discipline when you're younger is associated with punishment. But there's other concepts from the Islamic tradition that we need to look at. We need to look at tarbiyah for children and youth. We also need to look at these concepts like purifying the self, disciplining the self, and struggling against the self. That's why we have Tazkiyat al-nafs. That's why we have Riyadat al-nafs. That's why we have Jihad al-nafs. So we have all of these concepts within our tradition that are focused on the soul and self-accountability and self-discipline and purification. And we're not really tapping into them. So it's something that I've been thinking about and trying to foster myself is how can I, as somebody who's in this line of work, focus on my own self-discipline, self-purification, self-accountability? Because if I'm also working with clients, I cannot take them any farther than I've gone myself in terms of my own spiritual soul-based journey. So I do it first and foremost for my own spiritual development and for my own relationship with Allah and journey of my soul, first and foremost, because only by being as clear of a vessel as I can be, can I then allow Allah to come in and kind of work the barakah during sessions with clients. So that's my understanding of self-accountability and discipline for myself first as a person, as somebody who is submitting to Allah, and then secondarily for my profession. And it's something I think we all need to think about is, do we have methods of self-accountability in our life? Are we holding ourselves accountable? Are we disciplined? Are we struggling against ourselves? Are we tazkiyating? Are we purifying ourselves? These are all, again, from our tradition. And so we really need to revive, again, the Islamic traditions of the soul, and we need to implement them, especially in this day and age when so many of the struggles that Muslims are facing are actually can be addressed using these concepts from our tradition.